for a debate. It's time for some strong points firing out. Thank you. Let's start introducing our speakers for the debate. And this debate, the question and the topic is it time for reducing the grades for better marketing of cashews in India? The gentleman moderating and running this debate is none other than Mr. Adeeth Kalbavi, the Managing Director of Kalbavi Consumer Foods Private Limited. The contributors to the debate are going to be Mr. Achin Agarwal, the Director SKB Nuts Private Limited. Mr. C.R. Selvamani is the General Manager of CRP Group of Exports. Mr. Sukesh Agarwal is the Director of UB Agarwal Group, and Mr. Ravindra Mehta is the Director of Class Alzone Private Limited. I invite all these gentlemen onto the stage as I leave this highly charged topic in the hands of our debate moderator. In fact, just a couple of sessions back, this was a question which was raised about standardizing and, of course, redoing the entire grading system. It's time for Mr. Adeeth Kalbavi to take over the mic.
A very good afternoon to everyone present here. So this topic that we are planning to do right now, it's been a long-standing talk and one that demands answers. Is consolidation of cashew grades better for marketing of cashew kernels in India? So to do this, I basically wanted to give you some context as to what the Indian scenario is currently. So what you can see right over here at the front is basically a map of India, which represents what each state's current processing capacity is. So Karnataka was one of the pioneers, which leads with about 25% market share of the processing of India. India processes roughly about 1.8 million tons, out of which about 0.45 million tons is Karnataka's contribution. Similarly, you have Kerala, which was another very early state which began its processing and dominated the export side of the market from India. And then we had the eastern belt starting to take processing forward, which is your Kantai, Orissa, and Panruti from Tamil Nadu. And then we had the latest entrants, which was Gujarat and Rajasthan into the market. And they were emerging leaders, and they were focusing hard in terms of the technology side of things and how they can expand the fastest. So this, in a nutshell, is basically about the processing bandwidth of India. What is cashew grading? To just give you an overview of this entire thing, I wanted to mention the key criteria on which cashews are graded. And they're primarily nothing but size, shape, color, and nature of defect. Sizes, of course, I'm going to get into it going a little forward. And when I just wanted to specify on what nature of defect meant. So nature of defect is nothing but husks or spots or oily kernels or damaged kernels or to some extent shriveled or immature kernels as well. And then there are a lot of grading standards that are set up. You can see that right in front of them. I don't want to get into the depths of what those grading standards are. We would want to delve more into that during our debate throughout the rest of the course of the session. So these are primarily the 5 sizes that we have in holes, as you all know. W180, W210, W240, W320, and W450. For those of you who are not familiar, this nomenclature came from the British Times. It is basically the count of cashew kernels that is present in 1 pound weight. So basically, lower the number, larger the size. Similarly, we have scotched holes and broken grades, and most of the scotched holes are used towards the roasting purposes to develop that category in the country. Since the nutritional properties of the scotched holes as well as the normal cashews, they are similar in nature. And the broken grades go towards what we call the Horeca segment, which is the hotels, restaurants, and catering segment of the country. This, in a nutshell, basically tells you the style of grading of each of the states that we have in India. If you look at Goa and Maharashtra, these were earlier branded as the local growers and local processors. Basically, they used to use more of the local crop of their region and cater towards the segment of people who were willing to pay a premium for the quality of the product. It is a known fact that Indian cashews are higher in terms of the fat percentage that they contain and hence naturally also sweeter, which was making the local crop a much more favorable choice for most of the sweet meat industries. Next, we move on to Gujarat, which is newest to the processing. They are the latest emerging players adapting. Like I mentioned earlier, they're technology forward and they're looking at seeing how they can reduce their dependency on labor and increase their productivity. Karnataka, they were the pioneers in cashew processing. Uh, to date, they are the state which is having the highest number of grades that are present in the system. We have Kerala, which is like I mentioned, is more export focused. They also have a fairly large number of grades, but most of the grades they still cater to the export market. Tamil Nadu, the grades that they started off with were very similar to that of Karnataka, but they were somehow able to bring it to the market at much more economical and reasonable pricing. And then we have the eastern belt of Orissa, Andhra, and Kantai, where they started having their own independent grading nomenclature, which was unique to their region. And they also catered majorly at bringing those grades in at an economical value standpoint. So just to give you a glimpse of all the different kinds of grades that are available in the market, if you can see Karnataka leading with the highest number of grades, I don't want to get into naming all of that, but we have 42 different qualities and grades that are available. I don't know how many of these numbers make sense and whether they even communicate the same thing. If I look at, let's say, a W320 of Karnataka versus a W320 of another state, you might be talking about two completely different qualities. So I just want to I want this to sink in and just show you that the kind of resolution we have in grades can range anywhere from 42 to something as low as 6. So depending on the business model that we see in Maharashtra, depending on the business model that we have in each of the states, it is very, very clear that somehow all of them are making something work. So I think that's about it in terms of introducing and giving some context to this session. So I'd like to, before initiating this debate, I'd like to ask a couple of questions to each of our esteemed panelists. I'd like to start with Mr. Selvamani. So my question to you, Mr. Selvamani, is why do processors grade cashew kernels?
Hello, my name is Selvamani. I am representing CRP Cashews from Panruti, Tamil Nadu. Why we need grades? Basically, to satisfy the customer needs, customer product needs in that. But in terms of company, we need the lower grades because if you're going to take a W240, we are taking 3-4 grades. Some grades are not selling in the market. Some grades selling, the other grades are getting as a stock, so our investment get holded. So to reduce this investment hold, we are making as a less grades in Banduti area. If you see in the chart, we can see the Karnataka has highest number, whereas in Tamil Nadu have very less. Even we don't have WW240 also. We have only W240 grade in general in many companies. The main reason for less grades, as a company, we have to sell the product. Second thing, only the customer need. I am running a unit. I want to process. I want to sell the grades. So in these terms, I don't want to hold some material in the factory. As you know well, today the profit margin is very, very less. So in this situation, holding the stocks, it adding more burden to the companies. So in terms of Panduti processing method and our company method, we are trying to have very less grades. For example, today, one company I'm selling to one company, they're asking, we don't want even 240 and 320. You mix it both. So
That's a very fair point, Mr. Selvamani. I just wanted to also ask a separate question of, in the earlier days,
yeah.
why were people so passionate about making more grades? What were they getting out of it? What was the main reason for that to happen?
For example, if you take some, previously we supplied to ITC, where ITC was in Puducherry. They have manufacturing unit in Puducherry. Then they shifted to Bangalore in 2005, 6, 7, like that. They need more grades to specifically fulfill their needs. They have a different segment of biscuits. They have different categories. So they need as a more variety.
So you're saying it was customer driven, and
Yeah,
that is the need.
customer driven, correct.
And from the processing standpoint, did you think that there was a reason for the processors themselves to start doing it?
No, if the customer driven means we are forced to do that grade.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that, Mr. Selvamani. My next question goes to Mr. Achin Agarwal. So, Mr. Achin, being a buyer of cashews from various regions, what is the preference in terms of cashew grades that you see from your buyers?
Hi, I am Achin Aggarwal from SKB Nuts, a trader in Delhi. So when we procure cashews, we see the demand of customer. If the customer is a retailer, he focuses more on color and size. But if the customer is a corporate customer, their price matter a lot. So their color is not that much important. So we basically go for exact size, and color is not important in corporate customer, so we focus more on price. So according to our customer needs, we procure cashews.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Achin. My next question would be to Mr. Ravindra Mehta. So having diverse experience across all categories of the dry fruit industry, what is your opinion on cashew grades? And do you see it as a challenge having 50 plus grades in cashew versus, let's say, just 2 or 3 grades in other dry fruits such as almonds and pistachios? What's your opinion and what are the challenges that you see?
Hi, good evening, everybody. Having worked with Reliance Retail in early part of my career and then in Olam, working in both the extreme ends, what we were able to understand is that grades are basically meant for intermediates. The traders like probably Achin, and everything at the end of the day boils down to the pricing. I mean, if the customer is looking at to create another brand, as Mr. Selvamani said, it is largely because of a price point. Now, the end consumer, if you go and talk to any end consumer, he only wants cashew. He doesn't understand from which origin this comes. He doesn't understand W240, W320. For him or for her, it's the price point and how does it looks like. And I've been advocating that in India, we first eat by our eyes. So the appearance has to be good looking. And then we buy, because the kind of target customers we are servicing today are affluent people who can afford a product from a retail counter for about 1,000, 1,200 rupees kind of stuff. So for them, the appearance matters. And then all our grades, what we make are, like 42 grades, what you referred to, these are all subjective grades. You know, there's nothing objective about it. There is no varietal difference in the grading part. The only difference is that there is a little bit of testa, there is a little bit of color. Now, anything which is subjective, I mean, my white could be different from your white. You know, it's like mera wala pink and tera wala pink. So you have made so many different grades depending upon the customization, which is largely based on the price point category. Now, there is no consistency when you talk about a customized product, because if let's say any big corporate is looking to buy BB or SWP for its ingredient, now in a year where the prices are most competitive, or which is in a price purchasing parity to the product, he would buy from Mangalore, and probably next time he would buy from Panruti or Andhra. But that consistency of different grading you will not find in all different origins. So there is no point giving them so much of choice. I mean, you go to a sari store to look for a sari for your wife, and when you see thousands of saris, you get confused. You actually end up buying, give me something which suits her, the simple. So for us, cashew is, for a consumer, I'm saying, we can always sit and debate here about so many grades, that it is little white, it is little more broken. But at the end of the day, consumer is the king, and we have not gone to the consumer and asked him, what do you require? It is for us intermediaries, the traders who want to make profit, who want to make a from every product, you would like to squeeze out more money. So for me, I think it's more of a confusion than giving them any choice. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for that insight, Mr. Ravindra Mehta. It's an interesting choice that you've made where we realize that we have not gone to the end customer to ask them, what do you think of cashew? What is your perception on cashew? What is you want? Rather, we are seeing that there is a large preference that is already present in terms of the hindsight bias from the traders and in terms of the preference that they want to buy. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I think we can delve into that a little more deeper as this debate goes on. Just before I kick off the debate, the last question I'd like to ask Mr. Sukesh Aggarwal. Gujarat appears to be the only state which has a similar style to Mangalore when it comes to grading of cashew kernels. So being the latest region to begin processing in India, but also the fastest growing in recent times, can you shed some light on how you decided to opt on the current grading model and the challenges that you face?
Yeah, that's correct. Gujarat being the new entry in the market, we have to choose a way which was always already created. And Karnataka had this, domination in the market. So we chose the same grading model to get the smooth entry into the market without any friction. But gradually, we faced many challenges of labor, expertise labor, and also we tried to understand our customer requirements more. And dependency on machinery also increased. So we gradually reduced our grades and changed from 42 grades to 18 grades, maybe 20 grades, that's it. Gujarat is now not more than 20 grades.
So while you started from the looking at the model that Karnataka had established of probably 42 plus grades, you then worded it down and you were able to probably reduce that number almost by half, right? So that's also a very interesting insight that we have. So just before we kick off this debate, I'd like to give you the stance of each of these panelists that we have with us. We would have Mr. Selvamani and Mr. Achin Agarwal talking in favor of increasing the number of grades or so as to say, having a better resolution in terms of the number of grades that we have. And we have Mr. Sukesh Agarwal and Mr. Ravindra Mehta who are speaking against expanding the grades and more in terms of favor of consolidating grades. So just before I ask my first question, I'd like to have a question that I'd like to pop to the audience in front of me. So take in some time to soak in what you see in front of you. Can we have the first question come up, please? Yeah, so I'd like each of you to scan the QR code that you see on the left side of the screen. And I'd request each and every one of you to participate in this survey that I'd like to do. What you have in front of you is basically the grade W320. But there are 4 different types of W320. So my question to each of you, there are 4 options. You can see them, A, B, C, D. For each of these options, for each of these qualities that you see in front of you, I would request you to type in the price that the tax paid rate that you would pay for each of these qualities. And you have about 30 seconds time to do the same. I'm very curious to see what are the answers that we get, and I'd like to revisit this towards the end of our debate. The QR code is on both sides, so you can scan from either side, and you can take about 30 seconds to enter your choice. So please remember that it is the tax paid rate for W320 for each of these separate qualities that I'd like you to key in. So with this, I'd like to officially kick off the debate. And the first question that I'd like to ask, and we'll start with Mr. Achin Agarwal and Mr. Selvamani, is we'll hit the nail with the hammer right at the top. Do you think that processors need to have a larger resolution of grades, or do we need to consolidate? Please state your reasons for the same.
Hi again. See, I am a trader. Each processor make 40 to 50 grades. And if I minimum keep 10 processor stock, then I have to show my buyer 400 grades. And maybe it is 200 holes and 200 pieces, but to showing and selling and negotiating for 400 grades is a big task. But still, as a panelist, I cannot deny the benefits of the grades. First, I will ask Mr. Ravindra Mehta, Raviji, do you buy a Pringle? So Pringle costs 300 rupees and a Lay's equivalent company, very good taste, you buy for 35 rupees, both 100 grams. That is my first point. Fine grading gives you uniformity. Pringle costs 300 rupees and people buy it just for it because it's uniform size, uniform color, and good taste. Lay's also gives good taste, but not uniformity. So if you will do the fine grading, then only you can prove your quality. Uniformity, appeal, size, and it is very important to sell. Second point, specific needs of the customer. Until you grade properly, you cannot fulfill the needs of the customer. Suppose a ITC biscuit. Would you like the biscuit if you will have a 5 SWP and a 2 SWP coinciding same biscuit? No. So proper grading, proper size is very necessary, which we will get through proper grading and multiple grades. No processor wants multiple grades, but it's their need and necessity to make it. My third point is profitability. Profitability is only when a processor can charge the best price when he'll get the best, when he will deliver the best product. And the best product will come only through proper grading. Maybe if he is grading W180, W180, SW180 like Mr. Adeeth has shown, a W180 buyer will fetch the price only if the proper size and proper color will come. If 10% SWs are mixed in that, the fancy buyer or the niche buyer won't accept it. So there is a need to make it 4 grades. And profitability will come when you will fulfill the niche buyer demand.
Thank you so much for that, Achin. Mr. Selvamani, would you like to add anything to this?
Nothing to add it. My point is that lower grades is suitable for the current industry as a processor.
Okay. Yeah. So over to you, Mr. Ravindra ji and Mr. Sukesh ji. Just to summarize Mr. Achin's points, he was stating that it is more easy to have control with the resolution that you have. It is easy to maintain uniformity. It is easier to give the customer something definite. And it is easier also for the processor because he gets better value for the product. That's essentially the summary of Mr. Achin's statements. What would you like to add?
Well, no doubt about that only niche product will sell higher. But the point is, what percentage of buyers eat Pringle against Haldirams or Lay's? So they both are 30, 35 rupees. You cannot make margins only on 1 or 2% of the specialized grades. Now W180 is W180, which is white holes with 180 plus minus 10 kernels. Now, whether Gujarat makes W180 or Karnataka makes W180, it has to be 180. You can't have that 180 from Gujarat is whiter color, or it is fetching more premium, or 180 from Panruti is not is actually at a discount. So first of all, what we need to understand is if we are adhering to the specifications, which is W180, then it has to be W180 irrespective of who is making that. That's number one. Number two, now on coming onto the biscuit, this thing. Now, whenever we present them SWP or BBs, it is in the range of 2 to 5 or 5 to 7 So anything can come that way. The machines also cannot cut those SWPs to the exact size. So we understand that, yes, there is an issue in terms of the exact sizing. But when I'm eating a biscuit, it's a biscuit, not a cashew. Today, a lot size in a biscuit for a cashew biscuit will not be, 1.5% of cashews are mixed into a biscuit. It only gives you a flavor, though it gives a lot of value addition in terms of the pricing. But again, I'm saying, how many customers know about this? How many customers go and eat Pringle today? More of the customers are today eating chips. In fact, if when we come down to South India, from North India, the kind of shops we see here of hot chips, they are not even branded. So forget about eating Pringles. I have not seen even a single Pringle on the way from airport to Mahabalipuram. But I saw so many local chips over here. So my only understanding is that when you are making so many grades, it gives, I mean, there is a cost in making that. So you are not actually deriving the entire profitability out of that cost. I mean, W180 has to be W180. There is no differentiation altogether in that. So the more you make different grades, there's a cost involved. So how do you recover that cost? Is my understanding.
Sukesh,
That is good. Actually, uh, that is a very nice point. You want to say that niche segment we don't have to cater much. That niche segment is only 1 or 2%, and general segment is 98%, which will go for an average thing.
No. I'm not saying that niche segment is not important, but what is important is to serve a larger set of people who are looking to buy cashews, who are looking to buy 320, or who are looking to buy 240, where they need a good looking cashew. When I go to a Reliance store or any other modern retail store, I just need cashews. I got 10 guests at home, so my job is to bring W321 kg where I can give them at least 32 pieces in number of counts. That is important. The affluent customer who is today buying cashews understands what he is buying. Now 180, even in probably, correct me if I'm wrong, into the production, there's a very small percentage which 180 comes.
Correct.
So making WWW 180 is not the question. It's about economies. You need to reduce the cost of production and put good quality cashew in the market to make higher profitability. If your production cost goes up, I don't think so you'll be making high profitability from that 1.5 percentage of niche customer.
That's
Thank you.
what I want to make a point that because of grading only, cashew is the only nut which is catering to the every segment of industry, ingredient industry and the consumer industry. SSW you can sell for 500 rupees and 320 for 800 rupees and 180 for 1400 rupees. So because of grading that is happening. We can get a BB for 300 rupees and we can get a SWP for 650 to 750 rupees. If one grade we would have made.
No, sir, I'm not saying that you don't have to make
main
BB.
thing we have to understand is the function of the cashew. Our every customer, whether it is a mithai wala or a caterer or a regular consumer, everybody sees different function from that cashew. So according to the function, we have to make the gradings. If W180 or 8180 or S180 has the same function to the same customer, why should I segregate into 3 parts? And as you said, the profit. When I have to reduce my grades, I always save on my cost of production, on labor. And I can increase my volume through grading with the machines. So if the profit is the main part, why do we need more grades?
on the same lines, that's interesting that you mentioned that. I just have a follow-up question that I would like to ask. What is the role of defects in these grades? So basically, are there important parameters in grading that buyers look for, and do those defects play a role, and if so, how?
Same thing. As far as the function they require is served, the minor hair, segregating the hairline difference does not matter. As far as taste is not compromised, I would not say mixing oily 180 or 240 in the regular 240s. You have to segregate them. That is the only defect which customers takes care of.
Okay.
Adeeth, we need to understand who's the customer first. Is Achin a customer or is a consumer a customer we are targeting? If Achin is a customer, he would like to have defected cargo so that he can again make higher profits to them. But if we are talking about a consumer, again, consumer doesn't goes and buys the BB, consumer doesn't goes and buys an SWP, he only buys whole cashew which are being sold at that place. So from a consumer perspective, wholes are good, but from a FMCG or as an ingredient perspective, you can make SWP, you can make BB, you can make BB1, you can make BB2, but that is largely dependent upon the price point of that particular year when people are trying to reduce the cost of the final product, where your ingredient cost, your cashew cost is much higher than the wheat flour cost or a sugar cost. In a biscuit I'm talking about.
Do you have anything to say to that?
See, making, if we will not make multiple grades, it will be a, very soon it will be only a commodity, where there will be only cashews. First, we mixed 320. Now there is, Mr. Selvamani suggested 320 and 240 mix. Then we will see a W mix. Then we will see a wholes and pieces mix. So there will be a price competition which will never end.
Sir, in this thing, we already have grades, which is W150 to start with, but that is the grade where we understand the differentiation in terms of the sizes and holes. But when we say Mangalore makes W180, 3 different grades of W180, and Maharashtra makes W180 one grade and Gujarat makes 2, makes no sense to me. We are confusing. W180 means white holes with 180 number of kernels plus minus 10. But when you want to make that every state, Mangalore, Gujarat, every state has different grades because of price point, that is the confusion. For us, again, I am telling you, yes, for you go to biscuit industry, they are looking at SWP. Now probably because of the cost factor, they say, okay, give me BB1 or BB2 or BB3. But that only happened 3 years back when the cost of cashew went pretty high. But the moment, I recall ITC and Britannia used to buy about 10 years back 150 to 200 rupees of SWP. That was probably pre-COVID era. But now the cost has gone up. So they are trying to reduce the cost, and you as a processors are customizing only on the cost perspective. There is no variability in the product itself. There is only one cashew. Like in almonds, you only have California almonds, but there are different varieties in almond.
So essentially, you're looking at saying that we need to work towards some kind of standardization or homogenization to have some clarity in terms of finding out how do we match the preferences between the buyer and the seller.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so with this, I'd like to pose my second question to the audience. Can we have the next question up, please? Yeah. So what is the biggest challenge that you face while buying cashews? So this is going to be a live question and answer round. So as you keep inputting your answers into the system, you will be seeing a live result coming up on the screen as well. So can we have 30 seconds where the question is up, please?
So if I can take this question in context to what we do in almonds. Now almonds non-peril, there's one grade, there's one variety which is non-peril, and then you have different sizes, 27, 30, 32 or 20 to 25, 27. 99% of the traders never visit California to buy almonds. Everything happens here. But I see most of the traders from Delhi, Jaipur or many other states visiting Panruti or these places. Why? I mean, if it's a defined product, why do I need to visit a factory? But because we have created that confusion today by so many grades, Mera wala white, Mera wala W180 is better than his wala W180. So I need to go and check that variety at his place. So, I mean, what I'm trying to throw this point is that today AICA holds the responsibility to standardize the grades and run the industry in a very structured manner. Now, probably CPC has defined all those grades, but CPC looks largely on the export side. But if AICA can take this responsibility and onus on standardizing the total grades, that will help the industry and also the traders. It will save money of the traders to travel to Panruti unless we are, I mean, Mr. Selvamani invites us for a wedding or something, that's a separate issue. But the idea is that we make profit by reducing our costs.
Absolutely. I agree with that point. I'd just like to remind each of our panelists that at any given point of time, if you have a disagreement with the opinion that is being brought out by the other panelists, you are free to step in and pitch your point in terms of what you believe in. So moving forward, my next question is, the general trade was and continues to be the backbone of the Indian economy. But in the last few years, we have seen both the modern retail and e-commerce segments gaining significant market share now, and even so now quick commerce, which appears to be the new age disruptor. So what grades do you see this segment consume versus the general trade, and what do you think the trend will be moving forward in the corporate segment? Oh, we already got the results of this, is it? Oh, that's great. So we are seeing, so
So
contrary
same
to,
point. So we can have a uniform pricing only if we have a lesser grades.
no, the perception initially was that price is what is the most, sentimental factor that most people look at. And what we are seeing from the audience right now is price is in fact third, not even second, but third. And most people are struggling with consistency.
So that's the
No,
same,
that
you know.
is that is
That
the
is-
question I want to ask you, Sukesh ji. If you want to give consistent quality of 320 dealing with so many origins, so many KORs, 45, 44, 52, how you will deliver the same quality to your buyer without grading?
Exactly my point, sir. If
Without grading.
my 320 from Benin would appear different. My S320 from another origin will be different. But if I have a standard 320, whether it is ranging from W, average, and S, all origin somehow will make the same average.
So you have to grade them properly so it looks same.
Size has to be accurate.
Size and color and defects. Suppose some has
Defects
scorch material
defect
more.
like spotted have to be graded.
Scorch also have to be graded. So there will be multiple grades.
No, when I'm talking about holes, I'm talking one hole, 320, then making three grades, WW, W,
How you will
S.
deliver the same quality?
Yes, they will have, it will be uniform.
How?
I think the question that Achin is trying to ask is, how do you define what is W320?
That is where I'm saying the AICA needs to step in and standardize what W320 is. Again, the same confusion we are creating is that if we process Benin,
Ravi ji,
I'm talking about this. If we process Benin, if we process Senegal, if we process Nigeria, the color would be a little different. So would you like to write, as Achin was referring, that this is Benin W320?
Listen, Ravi ji, that is different thing. I want to ask only Sukesh ji. Suppose you have given a high commitment to any buyer, long-term commitment, and you have to deliver the same quality with 3 origins.
So my quality will be holes of count 320. That's it.
But the color also matters, na? Color, scorch, everything matters, na?
Scotch then spot is that defects. So when I talk about scotch, it is broken cashew. But when I talk about, yellow, ivory or pure white, this is all same.
Color is very, very
So
subjective.
you want to say that color grading will not be there, everything else will.
Color, if you look at CPC's definition of color, it goes from white to pale ivory. So there is so much of variation even in the CPC that how do you define color? Again, it is subjective. My taste is subjective. मैं आज करेला खा के आया हूँ तो मुझे मीठा नहीं लगा. Cashew.
This is the precise result that I actually wanted to see. I wanted to understand exactly how these thought processes of what you are having right now is impacting the modern retail and the e-commerce industries. So reverting back to the question that I had, what is your opinion on the grading systems that are accepted by these new age platforms versus the general trade platform? Can I hear some insights from you, Achinji, starting from you, because you are in the GT industry and also you have a significant enough exposure to the corporate side.
Sir, general trade sees and focuses more on color. And the buyers to us are retailers, which are retailers from maybe 20 years, 30 years, and they are into the same dry fruit trade. So by seeing itself, they can understand the quality of cashews. But in corporate, they have to the QC. In QC, they don't see much of the color, and they are more price consistent. That means price matters a lot. So if they will see the color, they have to definitely pay higher price for the same commodity, which they cannot pay. So they have down standard the standard color line. I will not say down standard, they have standardized the standard color line from pure white to average white, I would say.
Pale ivory.
Pale ivory. They have defined the new terms which will give them the average consistent price all over the year.
Mr. Selvamani, do you have anything to add to this?
No, nothing to add.
Mr.
So,
Ravi?
so countering,
My point is, continuing with Mr. Achin again, I'm not talking only, consolidating grade, color-wise. I'm also talking about consolidating sizes. W180, W210, or W240. Why not? Why separate? We can have one premium whole grades. That's it. Premium whole grades. These all three grades can go into one grade.
so what Achin said was that the general trade today looks at color, which is subjective, with the corporate looking at an objective side of the specification. I mean, they would check for moisture, size, foreign material, which is more objective to understand. Now, general trade, he would look at, मुझे 320 nazar aa raha hai. 320 is okay for them. But barring aside that, I think one point what me and Achin agree is that the modern retail today looks at a price point. They are looking at, okay, let me buy this W320 at his target price is 700, 720, 30. And that is where they are looking at the general understanding that it should be 320 or even mixed with certain other sizes, which again they are saying, I am providing cashew, not a grade to my end consumer who doesn't knows. So we are more objective than subjective.
So we are, I think, now starting to arrive at some kind of an understanding of how each industry functions. Looking at the subjectivity that the general trade brings with its higher focus on color, whereas the objective side of the modern trade and the e-commerce thing, where they focus more so on parameters such as the moisture content, the percentages of defects that are allowed to percolate into each of these grades as that are prescribed by the trade. So that's a very good insight that I've got from this question. So my next question would be, do you think that all processors in India need to take a common approach in grading, or is it better to maintain different grading system for different regions? And also, do you think cashew origin makes a difference in price discovery?
Yes, definitely cashew origin makes a difference. And this is very important question because sitting in Delhi, I cannot understand, that means I cannot understand how the grading goes or what exactly the material is. So there should be two grading parameters. One is the local grade which factory has put on their product. Secondly, a common grading system in which if we give that, if suppose AICA has given a grading system, and if we ask factory person that according to this grading system, your product falls into which category, we can get the perfect idea how the product looks. So it will help a lot.
Consolidation is the necessity, not convenience in today's time. We must adopt it. And we should have a standard grading system, maybe designed by AICA. If not 45 grades, not 5 grades, but somewhere in middle.
No, I have an interesting question that I'd like to ask you as a follow-up to this. So you are all in favor of consolidation, and at the same time, we have recognized that there are different industries that we need to deal with, including the export market. So we have the export side of things, we have the corporate side of things, and we have the general trade side of things. And even in institutions, we are starting to see that we are seeing different customers from different segments from the same segment having different requirements. So I just wanted to understand as to how will we be able to cater to all of these customers if all of us would follow a similar approach in grading?
Well, let me answer that. The institutional customer today in India, I mean, if I'm not wrong, correct me, about 65% of cashews what we produce goes into as an ingredient into whether curries or sweets or anything. There's a very small, not small, but probably 35% of cashew, we use it as a snacking, table snacking, or a value addition. Now, export, obviously, it's large holes, what we export out of India, which has a different specifications. But if you look at regionalization, and going back to your prior question, if every region has their own specifications or own grading system, then probably we will not be in a position to curate them into the same pan-India market. You know, then Achin will have to say that, okay, let me buy a few boxes from Panruti because they are of a different grade, and he has a different buyer segment largely because of price point. So streamlining and putting under one grading system is most important today for an industry to survive on a long-term basis and also to cut down their costs.
In export market, there is only two grades, W240 and W320. They don't ask for any other grades. They simply go with the two grades. But now also the same trend going in Delhi. They are not ready to take as many grades. As an industry, I am selling to some markets. They need very less grades. If I'm selling to a customer in Delhi, he is a customer. The Mithai wala is a consumer. So he is enforcing the customer to take the mixed grade. They are generating a new grade. So customer have a role to influence the consumer. Customer is different, consumer is different.
Now you look from the Mithai wala perspective, sir. Mithai wala maximum uses 4-piece or brokens. I would say I would not
No,
further.
now today this modern
Depends. The gifting
institution-
grades are different.
Gifting rates are different, but as an ingredient, what you need to understand today, there are many times because of excellent mechanization happening in the industry, your byproducts are getting, the percentage of byproducts is getting smaller. So most of the big consumers, I mean, I probably believe that Haldirams and all those guys, today they have an option to make a Kaju Katli either from a broken or from holes, and they are doing it wonderfully well.
No, they are Kaju Katli doing from 320. They're breaking, crushing.
That's what I'm
and,
saying.
Yeah.
So why do you, again, why do you require a broker for that? You don't derive that value, but at times, I mean, it was probably 3 years,
That's the whole
4 years
point,
back.
function. What is the function of the cashew you're buying? So one is a gifting grade, one is a cooking grade, you know.
So now
Sukesh ji,
320 from a functionality point of view can also be used as a gifting and also can be used into Kaju Katli. So why do again we need so many grades? We need to
Sukesh
reduce
ji,
that.
we don't need much grades, is it? So next time I ask you, you give me 320, 240, 180 at a price of 320 to me.
Sir, if it is a market standard, it is already established. We will do that. The price will take its own turn. The grading goes as per the market.
It's giving you benefit, na? That's what I want to say.
Ultimately, if my cost, I'm saving any cost, it will be passed to the customer. Let's see how much it is saved.
Okay. We've got quite
My calculation says if we reduce the grading and use more of the machineries for grading and less reduction, we will save at least 15% on our costing.
15%,
15.
50.
One five.
That is good.
15% of the cost. Okay. With these insights, I'd just like to pose my third question to the audience. Can we have the third question on the screen, please? So what should be the ideal number of grades available to buyers? Again, this is an audience poll. We'd like each of you to participate in this so that we can understand what your preferences are. We can lock in for about 30 seconds to look at your preferences. Interestingly, what we're seeing is there's not a single person. Okay, now I think we've got the first person who's come in saying we need something between 40 to 50 grades. So the side that Mr. Achin and Mr. Selvamani are representing, saying that we need to have more number of grades, it doesn't seem to be resonating the same with most of the audience that are sitting here. In fact, somehow people would like to deal with under 20 varieties in total number of cashew grades that processors are able to give to the customers. I think with this we have a fair enough understanding of what the audience sentiment, where the audience sentiment lies. Moving ahead, I'd like to ask my last and final question. So we are unable to get price discovery in the Indian market due to the fact that many customers have varying requirements, most of which may not be standard grades. How do we address this challenge, and is it possible to bring consensus in buyers, at least at a category level? Mr. Selvam, would you like to start taking this question? How do we get price discovery in the Indian market when every customer's requirement is different? So how do we move towards standardization essentially?
More grades, as per I am in the industry for 25 years, my father is 45. So more grades it's difficult to handle the processing and selling system as a company.
No, I'll just give you a small example to substantiate this. So in Mangalore, like I mentioned, that there were a lot of, if I were to take the example of brokens, we have some people making JJK, JK,
Yeah,
K,
K.
LWP, SWP, and BB, right? Let me knock off SWP and BB for a moment. Let's just talk about 4 Ps at the moment. So let's say that somebody is selling their JK at 800 plus tax. But there is a customer who comes and say, मेरे को फर्क नहीं पड़ता है whether it is big size or small size, मेरे को सिर्फ white चाहिए, तो आप उसमें JK भी डालो, K भी डालो, LWP में सब डालो, ये price point में मुझे चाहिए. So how do you deal with this kind of a difference where you have one customer who's willing to pay you a 50 rupee premium and another customer who says, I will probably take 20 metric tons of volume, I will not buy 5 metric tons like your other buyer is doing, but I will pick it up, I will clear all your grades. So I'm seeing how do you address this concern?
No, that is good question. But as far as my concern, the buyer who is buying from me, they are buying as a very less grade, no more grades. So more grades is always stockhold problems there.
Price discovery can be done only with consolidation.
Very
of
less.
rates. Once you consolidate, the exact price will come. Otherwise, there is a difference. If you will travel from south to north, you will see a 150 rupees difference stating the same name of grade. And some is selling for 100 rupees and other state is selling same grade for 200 rupees. 100 rupees difference in JK also, in W320 also, in W240 also, 100 rupees difference is there.
Well, I believe pricing is always a demand and supply mechanism where it works, and the brand value. So price will take its own course. First, we can decide on the consolidation of the grades, and gradually pricing will also take its own course. It will consolidate it.
Look, what price, again, as Sukesh said, price discovery can happen basis demand and supply. But on a specific customization, if somebody requires, he has to pay that premium because I am doing something different for him. I'm customizing it. The moment I customize it, because of his requirement, then I need to ask for my prices. But on a general trade, when you talk about wholes or when you talk about brokens, it has to be from demand and supply. I mean, there would be times when you find more 320s. There would be times in a raw cashew nut, you find more W240s into that. So that would, again, if availability is higher, then obviously the prices will reduce against the demand. But again, if certain company is coming with that, because of their specific sizing, they are coming with BB1 or BB2 depending upon, but that will not impact the entire industry because the customization is happening only with one or two or maybe 3-4 people of the industry. It's not overboard the industry that, okay, everybody has to produce BB1 in a certain specific way. But if you look at the larger context, it has to happen on demand and supply.
All right. So just before I conclude this debate, so I can take questions from the audience at this point of time. So based on the entire discussion here, is there anybody who would like to? Yeah. We have quite a few questions. I think the gentleman back over there.
My question is, I think that intermediaries or the level between the processor and the consumer, that they are governing the prices of the cashew, not the processor, not the end consumer.
Okay. We've noted your point. Can we have the next question, please, Mr. Vinay?
2 दिन के इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के अंदर ये सबसे बढ़िया टॉपिक है जो मुझे लगा है. ये जब मुद्दे की बात हो रही है तो मैं कुछ चीज़ें इसके अंदर ऐड करना चाहता हूँ. सबसे बड़ी बात, हम आज इस टॉपिक के ऊपर डिस्कस क्यों कर रहे हैं? क्या हम अपना कॉस्ट बचाना चाह रहे हैं या मार्केटिंग के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से? दूसरी चीज़, क्यों हम ग्रेड्स को कंसोलिडेट करना चाहते हैं? आप साड़ी का एग्जांपल दिए थे. साड़ी का साहब, दुनिया में हर आदमी को भिन्न दिखना है. कॉटन की साड़ी, सिल्क की साड़ी, सबका अपना ग्राहक है. अगर आज ड्राई फ्रूट के अच्छे हमको स्टोर्स दिख रहे हैं, वो कोई भी ऐसे ना मिक्स वाला नहीं रखना चाहता. अभी आपको गिफ्ट करना है, आप कौन सा ग्रेड करेंगे? जो सबसे सफ़ेद W180 होगा ना, वो अभी आप किसी भी रिश्तेदार के यहाँ जाएंगे उसको चूज़ कर करके आप गिफ्ट करोगे आप। तो ग्रेड का तो डेफिनेटली होना चाहिए। रही बात मार्जिन की, तो मार्जिन बनाने के लिए सबको ही है। जब तक आप डिफरेंट ग्रेड्स, मैं तो कह रहा हूँ होना चाहिए 100% 30 ग्रेड, अलग अलग ग्रेड रहेगी, अलग अलग कलर रहेगा, तभी तो सब बिकेगा। हर तरह का ग्राहक है इंडिया के अंदर और सबको उसका पर्पस का माल मिलेगा। ये जितनी ग्रेड्स हुई है, इन ग्रेड्स के कारण हर एक चीज़ का आज हमारे पास एक आधार है। अगर हमारे आज से 20 साल 30 साल पहले के अगर प्रोसेसर इतनी ग्रेड नहीं बनाते तो बीबी कहाँ जाता है, एसडब्ल्यूपी कहाँ जाता है, या फिर 400 नंबर कहाँ जाता है और 150 नंबर का ग्राहक कहाँ मिलता। तो 101% ये होना चाहिए। और कॉस्टिंग सब पास ऑन हो रही है, हर भाव में माल बिकता है। कॉस्टिंग को बचाने के लिए ग्रेड्स को कंसोलिडेशन आई डोंट थिंक करना चाहिए।
सर इस
Yeah, yeah.
सर इसमें ऐसा है, ट्रेड बदल रहा है। हम ऐसे युग में जा रहे हैं यहाँ पे अभी हम कस्टमर जा रहा है सीधा शेल्फ से उठा के खुद अपने देख के पैकेट उठा रहा है। वो जो ट्रेडर के पास जाना, डीलर के पास जाना, दुकानदार के पास जाना कि हाँ भी कौन सा काजू अच्छा है वो दिखाओ, ये नहीं। तो हम यहाँ पे कस्टमर को, कंज्यूमर को कंफ्यूज नहीं करना चाहते विद सो मैनी ग्रेड्स। कस्टमर को चाहिए कि ये बड़ा काजू है, ये ब्रोकन काजू है, दैट्स इट। वो देख के पैकेट उठाएगा, ना कि कंफ्यूज होएगा। कंफ्यूज होएगा तो नहीं खरीदेगा।
सुकेश जी, पहले हम 240, 180 easily बेच पा रहे थे. Initially we were easily selling 2 years, 3 years before. From last 3 years I am seeing sluggishness. Only 3 years before, when 240 was very short in the crop, it was sold easily. But from last 3 years we are struggling to sell 240, 210, 180. Can you elaborate के किस लिए कि भाई?
क्योंकि अभी इस समय जो बाइंग पैटर्न है टोटली मॉडर्न ट्रेड्स की तरफ चला गया है। ज़्यादातर लोग कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव देखते हुए 320 उठा रहे हैं। यही अगर हम मिक्स कर देंगे, हमारी कॉस्ट 240 की भी कम हो जाएगी। तो हमको वो 240 भी अगर टोटल होल्स ग्रेड में देने में कोई दिक्कत नहीं आएगी।
Do we have any more questions from the audience?
Yes, myself Sohail Sheikh. So basically, I'm a technology supplier. My question is like, why is cashew not graded based on quality? Why it is like number of kernels which comes into 1 pound? I mean, like if you look at the almond board, you know, I know because I've supplied a lot of machines over there. The almonds are graded based on the quality. So it's like consistency in quality. It doesn't matter what one way of kernel will actually matter because it can be different. Okay.
Your question is, why is it graded on a pound basis?
Exactly, yes. And why not in terms of size or quality?
Almond also are graded based on ounce basis. There are varieties of different almonds. You have non-pearl, Independence, Sonora, Butte, Padres, and within that variety you have sizes. Now those sizes are defined by ounce, 28.6 gram. So you have 20, 22, 23, 25, 24. So similarly in cashew we have on per pound basis, which is probably continuing from the British era. But in cashew there is no varietal difference. I mean, there is no different tree. There is only one cashew tree, only one variety, and then you derive the sizes out of that.
This is Mayank Jain from Veer Nutrition, Mumbai and Pandoti. Actually, I'm having very short question. AICA should take the responsibility of like uniformity and consolidation towards the skin of the cashews. Suppose that we are processing konagiri and the skin is rough, but we are processing konagiri. We are taking like 52 lbs or something like that. So there should be some kind of uniformity or some kind of misconception which customer is having regarding the skin. Like Benin is, so Benin we are giving WW320. Can't we have WW320 in konagiri? We can have, but that there is some misconception in the skin of the cashew, but we are taking on the basis of origin, there is misconception in the skin. So if skin is rough, we are considering, no, this is something, kambala hai, or, the skin is like, more chikna, तो ये ऊंचा वाला है. ये जो misconception अभी इंडिया में rumors कर रहा है ना, that should be avoided basically, and AICA should take the responsibility to give some kind of training to the persons. Sir, skin से कुछ नहीं होता sir. कोई बंदा SW खाएगा तो उसको cancer नहीं होगा.
Absolutely. I think you've addressed the very question that all of us were debating about, and we also were in line and in consensus to work around the same thing, which I'm going to come to. But just before I mention that, okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
Hi, I just want to add one more point with that gentleman. There is a perception in the market, most of the customer is not going by the count. From our area, if we sell somewhere around 240, If you go for the count, it will be somewhere around 200 or 210. Even the customer is not happy with that. Why can't we go with the any size of the cashews rather than going with the count? That's what I think seems to be a customer is expecting. Sometimes we give one more point, origin to origin, the density seems to be differs. Yeah, suppose if we go for a Ghana, the size will be little smaller. Suppose if we go for Tanzania or something, size seems to be bigger. I think we have to redefine according to the customer need. This is my opinion. I just want to know clarity how other processors are doing. Whether are you all going proper count or size? Thank you.
We can do any grading through weight only. All over the world, they follow this standard. So I understand that some kernels are heavier and look smaller. That is your point. But we cannot change the standards. Maybe you can add some more sizes, like you can give 180 to prove, and you can charge higher price. But it goes by weight. All over in almonds, in every nut, it goes by weight only. Peanut, cashews, in every nut, it goes by weight only.
All right. Thank you so much, Achinji.
Maybe 25 or 30 years back, where this grade were, who kept this WW, M, S, so many things. And who is to certify these grades? Who is certifying? Which agency is certifying? Earlier, there was a Cashew Export Promotion Council with the 26 grades. And there are international agencies, domestic agencies, or there, they were certifying this is so and so grade. Maybe export market with a little bit more moisture, domestic market without moisture. If we restrict to that point, it is easy, no? Certification agency is there. 26 grade same export and so domestic dry market without moisture, this one. So if you take all these things, who is there to certify these qualities?
So I would like to take up your exact question by answering it in my closing comments. Just before I do, can we have the results of the first question that I had asked on screen, please? That the first quality has a highest bid of 850 tax paid and a lowest of 500. The second quality having a highest bid of 830 and the lowest bid of 500, averaging 749. The third quality is having a highest of 880 and the lowest of 500, and the average is 769. And the fourth quality is having the highest as 900 and the lowest of 550 and an average of 787. So this is precisely what I wanted to say. So as the level of qualities are changing or switching up, the customer is having the position to pay a premium, and a much more significant premium to the tune of 20 to 30 rupees. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but margins in this industry are very lean. They are not massive. And if we are going to say in the same grade that is present over here, if you are seeing a average difference of almost 40 rupees on a kilo, 40 rupees is all the margin that most of the industry operates on. So this itself it tells you that the customer is in today's world still willing to pay a premium if you choose to give them what they want. However, having said that, we all are in agreement that we need to have some kind of structure and some kind of homogeneity in the way we start processing and making grades. Not to say that it needs to be more or less, but that it needs to be uniform. As we saw in the second question as well, the major pain point that most of you were facing was consistency, not price or quality, consistency. And emphasizing on that, there is a small request that I'd like to make to AICA, being the All India Cashew Association. Why don't we have some kind of AICA approved grades, or let's say AICA W320 or AICA mixed, whatever it may be. We can work towards making a standard. And I think the first kind of approach that we can look at taking is look at onboarding those people who are willing to be a part of that grading system. It need not necessarily mean that you need to rejig your entire system. It's just food for thought. I mean, you guys can take it up and see how you want to work on the exact structuring of it. But if you were to even start with something like, let's just start with W320, for instance. Let's start with 1 or 2 grades. Let us define certain standards and specifications for them. And then maybe also just in the sense of having a quality report or so on and so forth, We can also have a document format where we're dispatching it to buyers. We're able to attach that document, just like you have your COAs and you have all of those, third party. If a third party organization comes and inspects your cargo, they send a report. Similar to that, if we can also have AICA associating a specification report which can go to most of these buyers, probably it will help them understand what exactly we are trying to sell, and that inherently will also lead towards a better price discovery and invariably a better price for the processor as well. So this is a request that I have that I'd like to make to the entire board of AICA. And I think all of us agree that there are a lot of pros and cons associated with grading, and there is definitely value that is derived in grading. The whole reason that grading was started was so that we can derive value from the product. And all we are doing is we are looking towards paving a way towards a more homogeneous approach and towards not so many grades that it creates complete confusion to the customer, but a homogeneous system where every single buyer in the country, when they hear a name, they're able to associate what that grade particularly is. So thank you so much, Mr. Achin, Mr. Selvamani, Mr. Ravindra Mehta, and Mr.
Thank you.
Sukesh Agarwal for this lovely debate. Thank you guys for listening.